Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Everyone, welcome to today's presentation. The topic is the concept of Shaitan and Iblis in relation to Deen. Following are some of the references. If anyone wishes to read more on this topic, it is covered in detail, The Human Self and Iblis, or Iblis o Adam by Allama Pervez. On human desire. Now, I've taken some quotes from a book on desire, and the reference is given at the beginning. And I thought these quotes will set the scene for our today's presentation. First is, I should add that the time and effort we spend trying to master desire are probably considerably less than the time and effort we will expend if we instead capitulate to our desires and spend our days, as so many people do, working incessantly to fulfill whatever desires float in our head. So the point made over here is that we should look at our desires and analyze these carefully and be aware of them, and we will save a lot of time in the long run in our life. The next one is, many of our most profound life-affecting desires are not rational, in the sense that we don't use rational thought processes to form them. Indeed, we don't form them. They form themselves within us. They simply pop into our heads, uninvited and unannounced. While they reside there, they take control of our lives. A single rogue desire can trample the plans we had for our lives and thereby alter our destinies. Now, this aspect, if we remember, has been covered a few times before by Dr. Hamid in detail, like the law of thinking. And we need to be aware of what is coming into our mind, what is thoughts coming to our mind, so that we can then take appropriate decisions within the values which we have. If we are to understand desire, indeed we are to understand the human condition. We need to acknowledge the possibility of spontaneous desire. So desires do arise even without our own thinking. So this is something we should remain aware. And today we will look at some aspects of human desire and the Quranic perspective. And this is taken from the book on desire by William Irwin. Now, this presentation has following parts: two categories of people, root of Shaitan, root of Iblis, Haq and Batil. Premise to this presentation: role of Iblis and Shaitan in the development of the self, various verses illustrating various aspects of Shaitan, some verses about Iblis, Deen as a system, and finally, I will conclude it. I have included a number of verses to illustrate some of the issues to which the Quran has drawn our attention. There is a lot more to it, and I will suggest that we should look into the book Human Self and Iblis. Now, these two verses we shared before as well. First one is, Astawaza alayhum shaitanu fa ansahum zikrallah. Ulaika hizbu shaitani ala inna hizbu shaitani humul khasirun. If we remember, Quran has essentially divided mankind into two parts according to their line of thinking. First is over here in verse 58, 19. It's called the party of Shaitan. Shaitan has got the better of them, so he has made them lose the dhikr of Allah. They are the hizb of Shaitan. Truly, it is the hizb of Shaitan that are in loss. And if we remember, the Quran has called itself zikrukum, that is our zikr. It's a zikr about human beings, and over here, zikr Allah in relation to that means that if we forget the Quran, then essentially we forget our own self, and as a consequence, we cannot become what Quran has asked us to become or invited us to become. So this is in relation to that. The second verse is, La tajidu qawman yu'minuna billahi wal yawmil akhiri yuwadduna man haddallaha wa rasulahu walau kanu abahum wa abnahum wa ikhwanahum aw ashiratahum. Ulaika kataba fi qulubihimul imana wa ayyadahum bi ruhim minhu. وَيُدْخِلْهُمْ جَنَّةٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ أُولَٰئِكَ حِزْبُ اللَّهِ أَلَا إِنَّ حِزْبَ اللَّهِ humul muflihun. Now, I will just go through this translation quickly. You will not find any who have iman in Allah and the last day, loving those who resist Allah and His Messenger, even though they were their fathers, or their sons, or their brothers, or their kindred. For such, He has written iman in their hearts and strengthened them with ruh from Himself. And He will admit them to Jannat, beneath which rivers flow, to dwell therein. Allah will be well pleased with them, and they with Him. They are the Hizb of Allah. Truly, it is the Hizb of Allah that will achieve falah. So essentially, Quran has divided human beings into two categories. And the interesting is that under Hizb Shaitan, all other categories which Quran has mentioned, it has lumped them together, like mushrikeen, munafiqeen, kazibeen, zalimeen. So all those people who follow their desires and do not come to the Quran, they fall under that category. And over here under Hezbollah, it has defined, or it has put forward a particular characteristic, and there are a number of others of all of Mu'mineen, which we have gone through many times before. So over here, what the Quran says is that you have to move away from your priorities of life once you join Hezbollah, because the aim in front of us is to establish the system of Deen. Only Allah could inform us about this precise classification. Two completely different kinds of selves emerge by following these two concepts based on evidence. Two selves live life at totally different levels of development. So essentially, our ideological basis within us, those change. Now, there are some quotes here which I've taken from the book Human Self and Iblis. The greatest iblisiyat of all which man has to confront is hopelessness and despair. The reality is this, that life is the very name of hope and desire. As long as a ray of desire is present in some heart, the flame of life remains. The extinction of desires is called death. So we need desires to live this life. If we do not have desire, then we are literally dead. So it is important that we have desires, and then the issue is what kind of desires. It is in effect the hope remaining alive and the desire to advance forward, due to which evolution of the human self and awakening of the latent potential in man takes birth. Life is that in which there is a radiant objective in front of man, and the fervor for the attainment of this goal flows and persists in his heart and veins like an electrifying motivation. In the journey of life, wherever despondency and despair manage to impose themselves on man, death has in practical terms overcome man. So this is important to understand for us, and as well as to pass it on to others, that Quran takes us to a very high level of desire making, should we say, where we work for the system of Deen, and hereafter forms part of it. So despair and hopelessness should never get anywhere near it. And if it does, we have to recognize it and eliminate it. The truth is that when human emotions incite him towards lawlessness, then rebelliousness manifests in him. This is being satanic, in which the aspect of impulsiveness is prominent. But when the consequences of this lawlessness appear before him, despondency and hopelessness descend on man as a result. This is called iblisiyat. Thus, from the point of view of its origin, an act of transgression by man is shaitanat, and from the point of view of its end is iblisiyat. It's very beautifully explained in the book that Iblis is that state where we go into a state of despair and hopelessness. That is, this is also hopelessness, that we assume that the life will end with death, whereas life will not end with death. So Quran calls us towards hope, not towards despair. Therefore, Shaitan and Iblis are not two completely separate entities. They are two separate and distinct characteristics of one action. So if we assume that the life will end with death, that means we are into the iblisiyat mode. And then the way we follow our desires, that will become our shaitan. Now, root of shaitan. It means strong, long rope, a deep well, anything that is far away, to be distanced, one who obstructs. So it will help if we can have a look and revisit this root in the Lughat al-Quran by Allama Parvez. And what I've done is over here, I put on briefly some of its applications. First is going too far and to be distanced. That if there is a right path, we move away from that. And the more distanced we are, the more shaitani we will be. He opposed his companion and to be rebellious, to be far away from Allah's blessed, far removed or deprived, one who gives up the right path and adopts the wrong path. So first is that one gives up the path, the right path, and then adopts the wrong path. Or one is already on the wrong path, and if one is called towards the right path, he doesn't come. Any act done when overwhelmed by emotions is attributed to shaitan. So this is important. So we have to be in a very high level of awareness. The wild and rebellious people, plural is shayateen. Would also mean weakness due to some cause, for example, thirst. Something like a snakehead. In the Quran, this term is used in these meanings as well. Any force which rebels against Allah. Taghut and shaitan are used as synonyms. For example, in verse Surah Baqarah 256, both are used in a synonymous term that Taghut is the one who transgresses or is rebellious. Root of Iblis. Basic meaning is becoming disappointed and hopeless. Also means to be surprised or shocked, to trample. Some think it is not an Arabic word and has been adopted. Not a lot of details are provided on that, so I will just confine myself to this meaning. The following are its applications. The Quran has presented Iblis as an embodiment of rebelliousness and mutiny, has appeared against the Malaika who just obey and have no choice. So this, we should keep it in mind that once we go through the Quran, that Malaika are the ones who do not have a choice. These are the universal forces, visible as well as invisible. Whereas Shaitan and Iblis over here will be something which we have within us. Iblis represents that state of human emotions in which human intellect makes decisions outside the domain of the Quranic permanent values. This is always the case. As human emotions are hidden from the naked eye, hence Iblis is from jinn, invisible entity. We can also look at jinn. It has other connotations as well, but over here we'll restrict ourselves to this, that it is invisible. As long as man has choice and intent, Iblis will exist as his attribute. This is important, that we all have these tendencies. Remaining fully cognizant of Iblisi tendencies within us helps us to develop ourselves, to be able to understand it first and then to bring it under control, then remaining fully aware of it within ourselves as well as in others. Now, I have also included these two definitions of, one is haq and batil, because in relation to shaitan and Iblis, it's important that we keep this in mind as well. Batil is something which is related to Iblis and shaitan, whereas haq is what is given in the Quran in relation to Iman, Amal Saleh, Islam, and the system of Deen. Haq, the root is given here, means something to be present, happen, or to be proven in a way that cannot be denied. It means something to present itself in a concrete form or to be established. Where words ha and kaf appear together, this gives a positive meaning. Its basic meanings include health, stability, and establishment. Haq means for something to appear as a solid event or reality. For example, in verse 45:22, law of requital appears as haq, presents the heavens and the earth as haq. This includes the law of requital. The Quran is haq, Deen of Allah is haq, and there is no place for zan or conjecture in it. Man-made systems are batil, because the man-made systems do not take us to that destination which the Quran presents as a fact. Batil. Every one of those things or concepts or ideologies which is not haq is batil. So it is opposite of haq. If we understand haq, then we will understand batil very easily. For example, all those efforts which we make in this life without iman are batil, as these simply cannot acquire that self which can participate in the life of the hereafter. This means that if life has the potential to be eternal, then all that is batil does not contribute to the development of this potential. Batil is not only visible destructive acts, but everything which does not produce any result, something going to waste for nothing. It means that which does not meet the criteria laid down by the Quran. as it is the Quran which serves as an external standard to give value to human thoughts and deeds. A deed against this criterion is zulm, as noted in 45:22. Human creation is for a lofty purpose. If it fails to achieve this purpose, then its efforts will go to waste in pursuit of batil. And this is the root of batil. Now, premise to this talk. Why this talk? Allah of the Quran definitely exists, and everything in the universe and the human world follows laws and values, whether discovered or not yet discovered. And we have discussed this aspect in our various presentations. And if we are looking for these values and laws, we will find them. Death is a fact of life for each human being. This is related to our being physical. There is a life in the hereafter. It is a fact. Whether we like it or don't like it, hereafter is not going to disappear. The Quran is not a product of human intellect and contains guidance for mankind. This again is a fact. Whether we like it or don't like it, whether we want to take benefit of it or not, the book is there. It has been protected and preserved by Allah Himself. That is its original Arabic text. So it's up to us to take benefit out of it. Only those can get guidance who look for it, and only those can understand the system of deen who look for it. The cause for everything in human life can be established if we investigate. In fact, Allama Pervez said that it is a failure of human intellect if it cannot establish the cause of something in the world. The world we witness around us in 2021 is the product of human intellect and human hands and is based on man-made laws. In this world, all human beings are under the subjugation of other human beings, even those who appear to be in power and control at the top of the world. Both are chasing each other. Human beings have two kinds of needs, physical needs and the needs of the self. All human beings fall in two categories as clearly defined by the Quran, Hizbullah and Hizbul Shaitan. There is nothing inside of human beings which can provide guidance, hence the only guidance comes from their own desires and intellect. So if we do not come to the values of the Quran, then essentially we are following our own Iblis and Shaitan. Allah's Wahi is an external source of guidance which is now fully preserved and protected in the Quran, Arabic version, and is for all times and for the whole of mankind. It is complete and answers all questions which arise in the human mind in relation to development of the human self and the system of deen. Now, role of Iblis and Shaitan in the development of the self. Its understanding leads to knowing our own psyche and the psyche of fellow human beings in the world. Now, once I've gone through these points, some of these points will become elaborated through various verses which are selected from the Quran. Next is, these can serve as an external evidence to judge our own self in terms of its weaknesses and strengths, redirecting these tendencies towards bringing change within us to help understand the intricacies of the human thought process. So it's important that if we understand Iblis and Shaitan, the two states of our psyche, then it can help us to improve ourselves. Appreciate the creation of man, the consciousness within him, the potentials kept within man to acquire divine attributes for the good of mankind. We have discussed these points previously as well, and once we go into more of these divine attributes, this point will become even further elaborated. These to inform us of what we need to grow out of and then to remain aware of so that they do not affect us. So important is to understand both states, that is Iblis and Shaitan. Iblis related to our hopelessness and despair and thinking that the life will end with death. And Shaitan is related to our desires. This point will become further elaborated through verses. So if we know them, then we can grow out of it. So this is a kind of internal challenge we have against our own psyche, to be an essential part of the education and training process of children and then helping them to grow out of it. So it's not just about us. There is a younger generation coming and we have to train them and educate them. The earlier we train them and educate them, they can become muttaqi and avoid the pitfalls of life. Comprehending them is part of the understanding of the Quran and the human world around us. So this is very important, that if we know Iblis and Shaitan as explained by the Quran, and we also know the evidence of it, then we are in a better position to understand ourselves and understand others as well. It helps to acquire those intellectual abilities which we cannot otherwise acquire. helps to create those new desires after overcoming these tendencies which we cannot otherwise create in our life. For example, the desire for deen, desire for the hereafter, desire to work for the good of mankind, desire to stay in the light of Allah, Nur of Allah, I have put down here, desire to bring own desires within the domain of Wahi. And there is, we know, a lot more. Now, we will share some of the relevant verses. The first one is, وَمَا هُوَ بِقَوْلٍ قَوْلِ شَيْطَانٍ رَجِيمٍ. Nor is it the word of Shaitan, the rejected. So Quran has clearly declared that this book is not from any human intellect. In fact, human intellect cannot conceive of what is given in the Quran. It's a non-human intellect product. But we can understand it, follow it, and establish the system of deen. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu innamal khamru wal maisiru wal ansabu wal azlamu rijsum min amali shaitani fajtanibuhu la'allakum tuflihun. A very famous verse where khumr and maisir and sab and all these drinks and alcohol and all those means through which we want to make our life easier and want to get access to easy money without working hard. Or those who have iman, intoxicants and gambling via stones and arrows are abomination of Shaitan's works. Stay away from these so that you achieve falah. And see roots of words khamr and maisar as well. So over here, Quran has called it as acts of Shaitan, and we can see plenty of it around us in the world. Next is وَإِذَا لَقُوا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قَالُوا آمَنَّا وَإِذَا خَلَوْا إِلَىٰ شَيَاطِينِهِمْ قَالُوا إِنَّا مَعَكُمْ إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُسْتَهْزِئُونَ. Now this is in relation to hypocrisy of people who were around at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but we can see it all around us as well. Even all these political parties, they continuously do it. The members of one party, they are working continuously against the other parties, and they deceive each other. When they meet those who have iman, they say, we have iman. But when they are alone with shaitans, they say, we are really with you. We were only jesting. So the issue is that human beings can hide their emotions. They can hide their shaitan. And as a consequence, they can deceive others. So we have to understand it ourselves so that later on, if the platform of Tulu Islam expands and we have more members, we have to be alert about it, that there will be people who will come and we have to assess them using the Quranic light. Some tactics which is employed by shaitan. وَاسْتَفْزِزْ مِنَ النَّاسِ مِنْهُمْ بِصَوْتِكَ وَأَجْلِبْ عَلَيْهِمْ بِخَيْلِكَ وَرَجِلِكَ وَشَارِكْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَوْلَادِ وَعِدْهُمْ وَمَا يَعِدُهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ إِلَّا غُرُورًا. We have shared this verse before as well, and I will go through it again. Lead to destruction those whom you can among them with your voice. Make assaults on them with your cavalry and your infantry. Mutually share with them wealth and children and make promise to them. But Shaitan promises them nothing but deceit. So this is an excellent verse to demonstrate what is going on around us. Because whatever Quran puts forward as a value, we can see evidence of it in today's world. Because there is no deen anywhere. 2021 world is full of these examples. The first one is with your voice. We can see media all around us, everywhere, day, night. There are anchors. They are bent upon telling lies and putting forward a particular agenda. Make assaults on them with cavalry and your infantry. It can be taken as metaphorically as well as literally, because there is a bombing going on and we can see all around us. There are conflicts and chaos created everywhere. Mutually share with them wealth and children. We see examples of that everywhere. And make promises to them. And but Shaitan promises them nothing but deceit. We should keep it in mind that the life goes beyond death. And since there is no hereafter in this concept, so in any case, even if the system is not established, and even then it is a continuous state of loss. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمُ اتَّبِعُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ قَالُوا بَلْ نَتَّبِعُ مَا وَجَدْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَاءَنَا أَوَلَوْ كَانَ الشَّيْطَانُ يَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَىٰ عَذَابِ السَّعِيرِ. Very interesting, very pinpointing and focused verse, which says that when they are told that they should come to this guidance, because the mess they have created in the world, we would like to sort it out. What do they say? They say, we will follow our forefathers. If they are following forefathers, and that is the word we have, then according to law of requital, this is what we will get. What even if it is Shaitan calling them to the punishment of fire? So following forefathers without the guidance of the Quran is the act of Shaitan. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu la tattabi'u khutuwatish shaitani wa man yattabi' khutuwatish shaitani fa innahu ya'muru bil fahsha'i wal munkari. Walau fadlullahi alaykum wa rahmatuhu ma zaka minkum min ahadin abada. Walakinna Allaha yuzakki man yasha'u wallahu samiyyun alim. I think we have shared this verse as well before, but in this context, this is puts a lot of light on few aspects. First is that the Quran is warning us. So we have to be continuously aware of it. Those who claim that they have become mu'mineen and they are trying to follow the Quran and want to establish the system of deen and working for that they should follow not in the footsteps of Shaitan. So this is something we have to be continuously remain aware of. It's not something which is going to go away. If any will follow the footsteps of Shaitan, the Quran warns us, he will command Fahsha and Munkar. So Fahsha and Munkar will show up as our acts, as our thoughts. So we have to keep that in mind. And were it not the fadl of Allah, fadl and rahmat of Allah on you, not one of you would ever have been pure, or you would have purified your own self. If we remember the verse from Surah Al-Imran, وَتَعْصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا, the Quran states in that you were sitting on the edge of the pit of fire, and he saved you from that fire. And what he did, وَاللَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِكُمْ, that your hearts came together. So it's important that we should keep it in mind that Shaitan is something with which we have to deal with on a continuous basis. It's a challenge. And coming together is important because that is how we can help each other. But Allah does purify as per His Mashiach, so it follows a certain law of self-development, and we know about it. And Allah is one who is Sami and Alim, so we also have to remain Sami and Alim, that we should be fully cognizant of what is going on within us and what is going on around us. And if we understand ourselves, our desires, our emotions, our own system of thinking, then we will understand others as well. So these are important verses which are warning us and making us aware of it, that we should watch out our thoughts and how these thoughts turn into Fahsha and Munkar. Path of Mu'mineen, some verses. Inna ibadi laisa laka alayhim sultan wa kafa bi rabbika wakila. These are the verses in relation to the dialogue between Malaika and Adam and Iblis. And I picked up this, that over here, the Quran very categorically says, as for my devotees, no authority shall you have over them. That is, the challenge of Iblis was that I will misguide your people or mankind. And the Quran says, and Allah says that not the people who are following my path. Enough is your Rabb for a disposer of affairs. So see, the Rabb, the system of Rububiyyat is coming here, that if we do not follow the path of Iblis and Shaitan, then we can proceed towards the establishment of the system of Rububiyyat. وَقُلْ رَبِّ أَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ هَمَزَاتِ الشَّيَاطِينِ. So this is where the Quran says that you should continuously pray and desire, very strong desire, that I do not want to be part of Hizb Shaitan. I want to stay as Hizbullah, in the party of Allah, from the suggestions of Shaitan. So it is something we have to cope with. Now over here, this is a long verse. I will not read through it. I will just go through the translation. Say, shall we indeed call on others besides Allah? Things that can do us neither good nor harm. Very important. Now the point why I included this verse is, this is something which needs our profound reflection, because what Quran has said is, Kul anad'u min dunillahi ma la yanfi'una wa la yadurruna. That should I call to someone other than Allah who can neither give me any benefit nor any harm. And this is something we will discuss at in some other presentation, because I have paid a lot of attention to this. And there is a very important refined point here towards the Quran has invited our attention. And then it very vehemently, very straight away, it says things that can do and turn on our heels after receiving guidance from Allah, like one whom shaitans have made into a fool, wandering bewildered through the earth, his friends calling, come to us, guiding him to the path. Say, Allah's guidance is the only guidance, and we have been directed to submit ourselves to the Rabb of Alameen. So over here, the Quran has drawn our attention that things which you fear that will give you harm and you might lose immediate benefits of life. If you follow this path of the Quran, a stage will come where these things will not matter. Because if people come together and work together to the system of deen, and if they manage to establish a system of deen, then these things will disappear and the benefits of the system of deen will start emerging in front of us. So over here, the Quran has called it, like on whom shaitans have made into a fool. And the guidance of the Quran is the only guidance. So Quran has made it very clear that this is the only guidance available to us in this life, and has told us very categorically that do not have any doubts about it. Shaitan relates to human desires. Inna shaitana lakum aduwan fattakhizuhu aduwan. Innama yadu hizbahu liyakunu min ashabis sahih. Min ashabil sa'ir. Verily, shaitan is an enemy to you, so treat him as an enemy. So it's important that the desires which arise within us, and those do not meet the criteria of the Quran, then we have to reject them and be watchful of them. So treat him as an enemy. He only invites his adherents. That is, if we take a desire which is not in line with the Quranic value system, then if we follow it, then we are essentially following shaitan. That they may become owners of the fire, and that will take us gradually. One step, we might think that it is only a small thing, we can do it once, but poison, even taken once, is poison. The world around us stands as the evidence of this. Ash-shaytanu ya'idukumul faqra wa yamurukum bil fahsha'i wallahu ya'idukum maghfiratam minhu wa fadlan wallahu wasi'un alim. And we have seen that the shaitan will take us towards munkar and fasha. Over here, the Quran has drawn our attention that the shaitan will try to tell you that if you spend on others in the path of deen, then you will go poor. Shaitan threatens you with poverty and bids you do fasha. So see, mimma razaqnahum yunfikun, that is related to fasha, that keep it open. Allah promises you his maghfirat and fadl, and Allah is alim, knowing all things. So over here, we have to acquire a lot of knowledge to understand it, practice it, and then we can get convinced on this particular value. Ya'iduhum wa yumannihim wa ma ya'iduhum ash-shaytanu illa ghurura. Shaitan makes them promises and creates in them desires, but shaitan's promises are nothing but deception. So this is something for which we have to acquire evidence through our own conduct, through our own thinking. It cannot be imported from outside. This has to be our own effort to find out. And of course, this effort is initially individual, then collectively we do it together. Human desires without the light of Wahi cannot guide us to that Iman and Salih deeds which help to create a new self for the system of deen. To understand the Quran, we need to know shaitan. Faiza Qaraat al-Qur'ana fasta'iz billahi minash shaitanir rajim. So over here, Quran gives us guidance that when you do read the Quran, try to understand it and study it, then keep your desires and be watchful of those desires, that when you are reading this Quran, anything which may be going against your own desires, because we are gradually developing ourselves, then don't let those desires come into it and say, oh, no, I don't accept it. That is wrong, because that way we will not understand the Quran the way Quran wishes us to understand it. So that is why Quran over says, seek Allah's protection from shaitan, regime, the rejected. These desires do arise, and that is why we have seen that a lot of people read the Quran to justify their own desires, and they find plenty. because a lot of these translations, in fact, all of these translations are more or less a product of human desires. Innama najwa minash shaitane li yahzun allazina amanu wa laysa bidarrihim shay'an illa biiznillah walallahi falyatawakkalul mu'minun. Secret counsels are only by shaitan in order that he may cause grief to mu'mineen. So when people do secretly, all these intelligence agencies, this is what they do. Why do they do it secretly? Because they don't want public to know it, because they are working against the public. But he cannot harm them in the least except as per Mashiach of Allah, and on Allah let mu'mineen place their trust. The beauty of working for Haqq is that one becomes very transparent. As it is said that truth sets us free. So Haqq is truth. We have nothing to be fearful of. If people wish to come to the Quran, it is their choice. If they don't want, that is fine as well. It is their choice. So it is up to them what kind of a life they want in this world and life in the hereafter. Laqad dallani an zikri ba'da iz ja'ani wa kana shaytanu lil insani khuzula. He did lead me astray from the dhikr after it had come to me. This is beautiful. It's stated by the Quran, shaitan is but a traitor to man. So these desires will take us away from the Quran. So we have to remain very vigilant. If we have come to the Quran, we have made a significant sacrifice and we have left everything behind, then we have to capitalize on this investment. And this investment is never, ever going to go wasted. That's why Quran says, وَتَعْصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. If you hold on to the rope of Allah, then it's not going to break up. وَلَا يَسُدُّنَّكُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ مُبِينٌ. The Quran over here very clearly tells us, let not shaitan hinder you. It is, if we see that all those people who even come to the Quran and then mix it up with their own desires, they are the ones who prevent others to come to the Quran. In fact, they don't like pure Quran. For he is to you an enemy avowed. And there is no doubt in that. The world around us is a manifest evidence of Shaitan and Iblis. Now, next is some verses give more facets of Shaitan. Innama zalikum shaitanu yukhawwifu awliya فَلَا تَخَافُوهُمْ وَخَافُونِي إِن كُنْتُمْ مُؤْمِنِينَ. Over here, Quran tells us very clearly that it is Shaitan that suggests to you the fear of his votaries. Because they are in majority and they will create some kind of a fear. But be you not afraid of them, but fear me and become muttaqi. Muttaqi means to avoid the pitfalls of life. If you are mu'mineen. And it's a gradual process. Slowly one overcomes all those fears and the strength is developed. So it's important that because the system which is created by Iblis and Shaitan is going to create huzn and khawf. And we have to go against it and remove it and then come together and work together. وَعَادًا وَثَمُودَ وَقَدْ تَبَيَّنَ لَكُم مِّن مَّسَاكِنِهِمْ وَزَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُمْ فَصَدَّهُمْ عَنْ سَبِيلِهِ وَكَانُوا مُسْتَبْصِرِينَ. This is in relation to the previous nations as well, because that is how we get strength, that Allah's laws are working. If the previous nations suffered because through their own hands, because they followed the wrong path, then it serves as an evidence of failure of Iblis and Shaitan. The Ad and Thamud will clearly appear to you from the remains of their dwellings. So signs are everywhere of previous nations. Shaitan made their deeds alluring to them. And our desires present them through our intellect in a beautiful way. That, okay, I will do this time, I will not do it next time. And the next time comes again, the same desire, same intellect will tell us, no, do it once more. And kept them back from the path, though they were gifted with intelligence and skill. Shaitan here refers to that state of mind in which any thought of higher purpose of life fails to cross the human mind. So these desires, these prevent us from going to higher desires for a better life. And as a result, we create a world which is based on divisions, parties, chaos, wars, conflict, inequality, poverty, deprivation, slavery, you name it, it is there. Fear is created deliberately to fulfill own aims of life. Those in power use all methods and techniques to accomplish this. Those in power use all methods and techniques to accomplish this. It never ceases until they die or are eliminated. Understanding this aspect of human psyche is important. Iblis has another side of the same coin. وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ كَانَ مِنَ الْجِنِّ فَفَسَقَ عَنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّهِ أَفَتَتَّخِذُونَهُ وَذُرِّيَّتَهُ أَوْلِيَاءَ مِنْ دُونِي وَهُمْ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ بِئْسَ الظَّالِمِينَ بَدَلًا. Behold, we said to Malaika, prostrate to Adam. We are aware of these verses. They bowed down except Iblis. Malaika had no choice, but Iblis of Adam had a choice. He was one of the jinn, and he went outside the pattern defined by his Rabb. Will you then take him and his progeny as your protectors rather than me? And they are enemies to you, driving wedges between you. Evil will be the recompense for the Zalimin. So this is what Iblis does, that he draws wedges, he creates parties. It is all divisions which we see around in the world is because of this. وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ أَبَى وَاسْتَكْبَرَ وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. Two aspects are given here. We said to Malaika, bow down to Adam, and they bowed down. Not so Iblis. He refused. That is, he refused the guidance of Allah and was arrogant. And he also turned away. He was not willing to give it any thought. He was of those who are kafirin, and that way he not only harmed himself, he, by his own example, by setting a wrong model for others, for example, the children who follow them, they also become misguided. Iblis, a facet of human thinking which leads to creating those issues of life which take man far away from the guidance of Allah. It manifests egocentric thinking. So all those aspects which are covered under egocentric thinking are more or less applicable to this aspect. Challenge of Iblis to misguide man. Qala fabima agwatani la aqudanna lahum sirataka mustaqim. He said, because you have thrown me out of the way, I will lie in wait for them on your straight path. Instead, that Iblis should have accepted the responsibility, that tendency within man to accept responsibility. He said, since you have rejected me. So this is that fatalism, that Allah has predetermined everything for human being and they don't have any choice. And this whole concept and belief of Qismat is based on this. So essentially, what Iblis said is that he accused Allah that you made me like that, and therefore I will sit on the straight path and misguide those who do not believe in this, who do not accept this connotation that they have a choice. Summa la'atiyannahum min bayni aydihim min khalfihim wa an imanihim wa an shumailihim wa la tajidu aksarahum shakirin. This is a beautiful verse which sums up what is going on around us, and we also have been through this. Then will I assault them from before them and behind them, from their right and their left. No direction is left. Nor would you find in most of them shukr, that most of them will not be interested in Allah's guidance, and as a result, they will not be able to bring the best out of them. Qala akhruj minha mazuman madhura. Laman tabi'aka minhum la'amla anna jahannama minkum ajma'in. So Allah in return said to them, to the whole of mankind, get out from this, disgraced and expelled. If any of them follow you, hell will I fill with you all. So over here, it's very clearly stated that if human beings, they follow Iblis and Shaitan, then obviously they will create the world which we find around us. So what we have is that we must recognize this world and then try to see that what can be done about it by developing ourselves for the system of Deen. And that option is available to us all the time. The world around us manifests this state controlled by Iblis and its forces. The Quran leaves no doubts whatsoever in this regard, if only we possess the sight to witness it. So we need vision and insight to go for it. It needs a lot of reflection. If we see that Iblis is very highly intellectual and is reasoning it, and he knows that I can misguide the majority. And that is why the Quran has put it together in such a way for our guidance that this will happen in case Mu'mineen do not emerge. Exit from Jannat attributed to Iblis and Shaitan. This is something very interesting, that sometimes people mix between Iblis and Shaitan and think that one is different from the other. Over here, it becomes very clear. وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ أَبَى. So Iblis over here has refused. So this is the first part. This is in Surah Taha. قُلْنَا يَا آدَمُ إِنَّا هَذَا عَدُوٌّ لَكَ وَلِزَوْجِكَ فَلَا يُخْرِجَنَّكُمَا مِنَ الْجَنَّةِ فَتَشْقَى. Then we said, O Adam, verily this is an enemy to you. So human beings have been adequately warned. And even if we haven't gone through the Quran, we know that our deeds, our desires, what kind of effects these produce. In the West, for example, everyone knows about cause and effect. And your companion, so let him not get you out of the Jannah so that you land in misery. So the couple were informed, and metaphorically this is explained, that do not follow him, because he will create enmity and take you out of that Jannat, that peace in which you are living. And then, وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ أَبَى وَاسْتَكْبَرَ وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. Over here, it is just refusal mentioned over here, that he refused. Over here, وَاسْتَكْبَرَ, he was also arrogant. And thus he became out of those who do kufr. So it is clearly summed it up here, the Quran, the whole state of Iblis and those who follow it. فَزَلَّهُمَ الشَّيْطَانُ. So over here, say in the same 234 in Surah Baqarah's 34th verse, leaving 35, 36, and it will be instructive if we can go back to these verses and have a look ourselves. That over here, it is from Iblis, then Quran comes to Shaitan. فَزَلَّهُمَ الشَّيْطَانُ عَنْهَا فَأَخْرَجَهُمَا مِمَّا كَانَ فِيهِ وَقُلْ نَهْبِطُوا بَعْضُكُمْ لِبَعْضٍ عَدُوٌّ وَلَكُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ مُسْتَقَرٌّ وَمَتَاعٌ إِلَىٰ حِينٍ. So over here, the Quran has summed up, then did Shaitan make them slip from there. So over here, Iblis, what he did was that Aba wastakbara, and over here, he got them out because they were warned. They were warned here that do not follow him, but they followed and get them out of the state in which they had been. So as a consequence, what happened? That get you down all with enmity between yourselves. So there will be parties among you. You will hate each other. You will fight with each other. You will create chaos. So that is our default position. We have discussed this point as well. It's worth repeating it, reiterating it. Earth will be your dwelling place and your means of livelihood for a time. So we have a limited time here, but it is long enough time to mend our ways and establish the system of deen. If we do not, then we will never get it until people decide what they want from their life. Some more psychological facets of Shaitan here. وَقُلْ لِعِبَادِي يَقُولُ الَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ يَنزَغُ بَيْنَهُمْ إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ كَانَ لِلْإِنسَانِ عَدُوًّا مُبِينًا. Say to my devotees, those who follow Allah's laws, those who follow the Quranic guidance, that they should only say those things that are best. For Shaitan does sow dissensions among them. So important, see, whole media is not saying things which are best, they are misguiding others. Over here, Quran has made it very clear distinction between the two. They say those things because our words matter, because thoughts come first and then our words. For Shaitan is to man an avowed adversary. So it is not that we don't know. The interesting thing is that Iblis and Shaitan exactly know what they are doing. So we have to be even more aware of it all the time. We should be aware of our own inner thoughts and feelings and sentiments and desires. And we should also be able to relate it to others. الذين آمنوا يقاتلون في سبيل الله والذين كفروا يقاتلون في سبيل الطاغوت فقاتلوا أولياء الشيطان إن كيد الشيطان كان ضعيفا. I included this verse because of this inna kaida shaitani kana zaifa. That initially it looks like, because we have allowed this system to flourish and establish itself and do all the damage which it is doing in the world, it initially looks absolutely very strong and it looks impossible to raise a system which is countering it. But the Quran calls it that inside it is very, very weak. In any case, this system ends with death, and all these guys who are whatever they're doing in the world are going to die. But there is also inbuilt weakness within this system. Those who have Iman fight in the cause of Allah, made it very clear, and those who do kufr fight in the cause of Taghut. Hizbullah, Hizb Shaitan, the Quran has made it very clear. So fight you against the companions of Shaitan. So Hizbullah has to fight against, has to contend with them, has to confront them. Feeble indeed is the trickery of Shaitan. This is a very important psychological issue here, that Once we come to this towards the Quran, with that iman, tremendous amount of strength should develop within us. Now over here, this is a long verse. I will just go through the translation of it, and I will suggest that we should go through it step by step. I have highlighted some of these points here. Shaitan will declare when the matter is decided. Now this is the concluding phase, let's say in the hereafter. It was Allah who gave you a promise of haqq. I too promised, because Shaitan promised batil. But I failed in my promise to you. I had no authority over you except to call you, but you listened to me. That is the important point. We follow it. Nobody can force us to follow Shaitan. Then reproach not me, but reproach your own selves. So if you want to curse anyone, then curse your own self, that you made a wrong decision, you got enticed, you followed it because you wanted to follow your desires. I cannot listen to your cries, nor can you listen to mine. I reject your former act in associating me with Allah. In a word of Shaitan and Iblis, you will see continuous accusations take place. Everyone is accusing each other because none of them wants to take any responsibility. And in fact, these accusations are carefully contrived as well as a program of media manipulation of public opinion. So this is something we should be fully aware of it. For the Zalimin, there is a severe chastisement, and Quran calls them all unjust people. Two guises of Shaitan. Now, this is interesting over here. I have quoted this verse from Hazrat Musa when he, by mistake, he killed that man from Pharaoh's party. And what he said was at the end, and it's quite interesting that the way Quran explains it, there is a lot more to it, but we'll leave it for some other time. He entered the city at a time, that is, Hazrat Musa entered the city at a time when people were not watching. So the words here used are hine ghaflatin. And he found two men fighting. So one was from Bani Israel and one was from Pharaoh's party. One from his people and the other from the opposite party. And we can imagine that Bani Israel were treated as slaves. And we see it in racism as well, that people of one color discriminating against others. Now the man of his own people appealed to him against his opponent. So it means that the man from Bani Israel knew that Hazrat Musa belongs to Bani Israel. So that means it was generally known that this prince in Pharaoh's house is from Bani Israel. And Musa struck him with his fist and made an end of him. Now over here, Quran hasn't gone into a lot of detail. There might be more altercation and they might have wrestled around a bit, or there might have been an exchange of arguments as well. But Quran has only said that he struck him and he died. Now, another interesting thing over here is that the Quran has not said that that man, had he not died, he might have been guided. So this is something which we will leave it for further analysis at some other point. He said, this is a work of Shaitan, for he is an enemy that manifestly leads. And we should also keep it in mind that at this point, Hazrat Musa has not been made Nabi, and he's not a messenger of Allah yet, because he had to go through many more stages and phases of education, training, and self-development. So over here, as a human being, he made a mistake and he realized it, and he said, and in other verses, he says that I will never help anyone who is unjust. وَمَنْ يَعْشُ عَنْ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَانِ نُقَيِّزْ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ. If anyone withdraws himself from the dhikr of Ar-Rahman, we appoint for him a shaitan to be an intimate companion to him. Now, this is important that if we move away, for example, today, if I decide to leave the Quran and move away, then obviously the shaitan which I got rid of, whether completely or partially, will come back, because we will go back to our previous methods and we will leave Sirat-e-Mustaqim. وَإِنَّهُمْ لَا يَسُدُّونَهُمْ عَنْ سَبِيلِي وَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. Such really hinder them from the path, but they think that they are being guided right. Nobody wants, as a human being, wants to say that I'm misguided, I'm not on the right path. They all think that they are on the right path. Here is not a question of my desires and my own criteria, my own values. We have to check it against the Quranic criteria. It's an external standard. It's not laid down by us. It's a product of non-human intellect. It is a guidance from Allah which human beings cannot create themselves. So, and the results then show, if we follow our own desires, then and even if we justify it, that doesn't mean that by taking poison for some time, we are going to save ourselves. At some point, death will get hold of us. And over here, it's a question of self. The self will not develop, period. Now, over here, I want to share a few verses on Deen as a system. Huwallazi arsala rasulahu bil huda wa deen al haqqi liyuzhirahu ala deen kullihi walau karihal mushrikun. So over here, the Quran says that this deen will, at some point in the world, will overcome all other deens as a system. The important point over here is walau karihal mushrikun. Those from Hizb Shaitan, they might oppose it. And even if they dislike it, you should not get discouraged or become despondent or despair or hopelessness. That is, don't let Iblis come near you. Exactly the same wording here. But why I included it? وَقَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا. Over here it says mushrikun, telling us that even if they dislike it, you keep working. And over here it says to give us strength that kafa billahi shahida, that Allah is watching this process. So don't give up. Don't be fearful. The points to note here is the Quran is the guidance and deen-e-haq. It has to become established at some point in the world. And why not now? Because end of the day, this will be done through human hands. And I've got the same hands which future generations will have. So we should develop that resolve within us that we will keep working for this. No more Nabi and Messenger is coming, as the Quran is a complete book of guidance to establish the system of deen. Hence, people like us will have to volunteer to do this task. So we should be aware of Iblis and Shaitan. Deen cannot be established unless we know the system completely. This is an important point that some of us sometimes get frustrated that we are not doing anything. But important point is that a lot more is to be learned and practiced through saleh deeds before that we become frustrated. The frustration is sign of Iblis, and we should not let it come near us. To know the system of deen, we need to know the concept of Allah and know Iblis and Shaitan as explained in the Quran. This way, we then understand that self which can establish the system of deen. The Quranic verdict is very clear. Avalam yakfim anna anzalna alaykal kitaba yutla alayhim inna fi zalika la rahmatam wa zikra liqawmi yu'minun. Is it not enough for them that we have sent down to you the book which is rehearsed to them? You are studying it. Verily in it is rahmat. We know the meanings of rahmat and dhikr for mu'mineen. So this book is complete, precise, accurate, and is preserved. And we are extremely fortunate that Allama Parvez has more or less given us the complete blueprint of the system of deen. At least its all fundamentals have been explained. فَإِنْ يَسْتَجِيبُ لَكَ فَأَعْلَمْ أَنَّمَا يَتَّبِعُونَ أَهْوَاهُمْ وَمَنْ أَضَلُّ مِمَّنِ اتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ بِغَيْرِ هُدًى مِنَ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الظَّالِمِينَ. This is a very interesting verse and very, very extremely powerful to pass on the message to those who think that the Quran is not a complete book and what is the reason that they do not want to follow it. But if they respond not to you, that is, if we present the pure Quran and they do not want to come to it, know that they only follow their own desires. See, cause and effect. So then we should conclude that they only want to follow their own shaitan. And who is more astray than one who follows his own lusts? See, very important that they want to follow their own desires because those desires conflict with what the Quran is asking them to do. And divide of guidance from Allah, and those desires are without the guidance of Allah. And this is where I wanted, why I included this verse was for Allah guides not people who are zalimeen, and all these people are the ones who are unjust. These are the people who create problems in the world. So let's not put some kind of a soft touch over them or gloss over it. Oh no, these guys are okay. They will come to this one day. When they will come, we will see to it. But at any point in time, if somebody doesn't come to it and thinks that Quran is not a complete book and we need something more than this, then they fall under this category. I remember someone who recently discussed with me, and they were not very sure about the completeness of the Quran. And ultimately, I asked them to read this. And there was a long silence when they read La Yahdil Qawm al-Zalimin. And that was the end of our discussion and exchange of views on the Quran. 2 points highlighted here for us. The Book of Allah is precise and completely meets our needs of growth, rahmat, and eminence is mentioned there. If people do not come to the Quran when it is presented to them as a complete book, then they wish to follow their own desires. Period. That is the conclusion. If they follow their own desires without the Book of Allah, then they are all part of Zalimeen. So we should have absolutely no doubt in our mind that they are the ones who are contributing to the state of hell which we see in the world of 2021. Finally, as human beings, our basic default state is that of Shaitan and Iblis. Both are two aspects of the state of our psyche at any point in our life. If we do not come to the Quran, then we leave this life with a self constructed on these two states. We should remove all doubts regarding this, because Quran presents this evidence right very clearly before us. In order to become part of Hizbullah, we have to acquire Iman and then do solid deeds by using our deliberate choice. If we do not become part of Hizbullah, then we automatically remain part of Hizbul Shaitan. The Quran from beginning to end is one whole, which explains all aspects of Haqq and Batil, Hizbullah and Hizbul Shaitan in relation to the system of Deen. The story of Iblis and Shaitan is the account of our emotive makeup. This is the way we are made up. We can't help it. This is the way we have been created. Our desires, our intellect, and the role of our own I to create a new self. This is the way system is. So this is something which we need to think through it very carefully in our own time if we haven't come to this conclusion. And it's an ongoing thing. It is not one day that we'll be satisfied and next day we can forget, because these desires keep coming back. The world around us in 2021 is completely created by Iblis and Shaitan, i.e. without the guidance of Wahi. And the Quran has described this word in detail. In order to help change this word into a new word put forward by the Quran, we need to understand the concept of Shaitan and Iblis together with the concept of Allah. This is an intrinsic part of our zikr as noted in 21:10. So when Quran says it is your zikr, it is for you, then we have to understand this in detail. And finally, Iblis and Shaitan are not some derogatory terms as commonly referred to. So this is not something smearing or some bad word. These are psychological terms which are used in the Quran in a particular context, and we need to understand it. And there is plenty of evidence within us and around us. These are factual, psychological human states which need to be comprehended clearly to understand our own self, as well as the selves of other human beings in the world. And with that, I come to the end of my presentation. Thanks for listening. Question and answer session.